Ok, amigos, buenos días. Aquí tengo un trabajito para ustedes en donde les voy a pedir que lean este pasaje en inglés. Y yo sé que tengo aquí algunos que tal vez tengan un poco de dificultades, entonces me gustaría leérselos. Les voy a pedir que miren a la pantalla porque este es el cuento que tienen hoy. De vez en cuando se los leeré y hay veces que les voy a pedir que practiquen su inglés ustedes leyendo mismos. Okay, so this story is called Character Passage, The Trip, and it says here directions. Read the passage and answer the questions. So if you look at the picture, it's talking about a trip. Where would you think? Well, this is a tower of Paris, right? So it might be about Paris. Let's see. Rachel dreamed about going to Paris ever since her older cousin took a summer trip there after graduating from college. Hearing what a beautiful as well as interesting place Paris was made Rachel decide to take French classes when she got into high school. One day, Rachel's French teacher announced that she would be taking a group of students to Paris for 2 weeks of a trip that summer. The trip was an expensive one, but would be the trip of a lifetime. Rachel worried that her parents wouldn't have enough money to pay for a trip like that, so she made up her mind to raise the money herself. She put up notices on the bulletin boards of nearby grocery stores to let people know that she was available to dog sit or to walk dogs that needed to exercise. She contacted her parents' friends to see if they needed babysitting help. She also set up her own bake sale and lemonade stands on a weekly basis to bring in money she needed for her trip. Así que aquí podemos ver que ella está tratando de hacer muchísimas cosas para tener los fondos para ir a este viaje. Al último aquí dice, finally, the day of the trip had arrived, and with her passport in hand, Rachel stepped onto the plane leaving for France. As Rachel sat in the seat waiting to take off, she felt pleased that she had raised the money all by herself to take this special trip. She had earned it, and now she could relax and enjoy it. So think about it. Was she able to get her trip? What did she do? Did they give her her trip or did she work for it? Now let's go ahead and look at the questions. You have a question number 1 and it says, which was not a setting in the story? So if you remember setting means where did the story take place, right? Where did it not take place? A says at a grocery store. B says a lemonade stand. C says a gym. And D says an airplane. So which of these choices did Rachel not even talk about? Because Rachel went to different places in the story because she wanted to make her dream come true and go to Paris. So which one was not a setting? Which one was not? Number 2 says, what inspired Rachel to see Paris? Who inspired her, or what inspired her? A says the images of the Eiffel Tower on her textbooks. B says the stories her grandmother told her as a child. C says her cousin's summer trip to Paris after graduation. And D says food she had eaten at the local French restaurant. What inspired her? ¿Qué la inspiró a querer ir a París? You can go back to paragraph 1. I'm sure it's there. Number 3 says, what character trait describes Rachel best? How would you describe Rachel? Think of one word that would describe Rachel. ¿Qué rasgo describiría a Rachel? A, determined, determinada. B, selfish, envidiosa. C, lighthearted. Or D, obnoxious. Y lighthearted es como que no tiene tanto corazón. O sea, de forma de que no, no ha de tener tanta ambición, por decir, que no la tiene. Obnoxious como tremenda. Así que ¿a cuál de estas describiría a Rachel? Si trabajó tan duro y hizo múltiples trabajos para poder ahorrar ese dinero y ganarse ese dinero. ¿Qué palabra aquí la describiría? Number 4 says, what evidence from the text does not support your answer to the previous question? Okay, which one does not? That means whatever answer you chose here, which of these does not make sense to why you chose that answer? So A says, Rachel worried that her parents wouldn't have enough money to pay for a trip like that, so she made up. B says, one day Rachel's friend's teacher announced that she would be taking a group of students to Paris for A. C says, she, Rachel, put up notices on the bulletin boards of nearby grocery stores to let people know that she. And then D says, she, Rachel, also set up her own bake sales and lemonade stands on a weekly basis to bring in the. So, which of these does not? Does not. Ok, si ustedes eligieron, híjole, y ahí creo que ahí pudieron ver algo. Y para aquellos que están aquí, que tomando ventaja, mirando el video, aquí podemos ver que after all the hard work, Rachel feels, how does Rachel feel at the end of the story? ¿Cómo se siente Rachel al final del cuento? Y aquí pueden ver la respuesta. Y yo sé que es lunes y si están mirando este video, pues aquí tienen algo leve. Y podríamos decir que una palabra que describiría a Rachel sería proud. Okay, ¿cómo se sentía al final del cuento? How did she feel at the end of the story? Orgullosa. Orgullosa porque ella misma consiguió a llegar a su meta y a poder viajar a París. Así que ustedes tienen aquí otras más que contestar. Por favor, tómense su tiempo. Y espero que este video que les grabé leyéndoles el cuento les ayude. Nos vemos pronto.